We're joined now by renowned animal conservationist and wildlife biologist Jeff Corwin. He joins us now from Boston, Massachusetts. Thanks so much for being with us. What's your sense of the episode? Do you believe that this hunter went out there and thought all of this was above board and legal?
Personally, I find it hard to believe. There are a couple of factors here. Number one, he was hunting with two local guides. And clearly, if they were from this region and they were familiar with this national park, they would have known about Cecil. He's a 13-year-old, well-established lion pride master, and he was the ambassador of this national park in Zimbabwe. They also would have known through their observations that it had a radio collar on. So clearly there was something else going on with this animal, that he was part of a larger long-term scientific research study with the University of Oxford. So there were many bits and clues that should have steered them away from targeting this lion.
Well, the argument that some hunters make is that the lions are really, they're helping other lions. It's a conservation-minded endeavor, because though they hunt for one lion, they pay enormous licensing fees, and if it weren't Cecil, it would be another lion whose death, in fact, would make his community stronger and safer. And I don't even know how to even replicate the argument that they make, but is there anything to it?
Well, today there are only 11 countries left in Africa that allow game hunting, recreational hunting. And for instance, Botswana just ended their open season for hunting. The truth is that lions are in a lot of trouble today. The population of lions have been dramatically reduced in just a few decades by 50% because of climate change and habitat loss and human-animal conflict from ranching and livestock and agriculture. All of this has weighed heavy on the lion population. There's only about 25,000 lions left in the wilds in Africa. So I don't know how one could use hunting as a way to justify managing the population. Also, keep in mind that this is a national park. This is a protected refuge for animals and landscape and habitat. So it goes against the protocol and ethics of anyone, most hunters that I know, with regard to going into a national park and luring, baiting an animal out to a place of vulnerability and then killing it.
Apparently that is legal in Zimbabwe, and we can't control that, but a lot of the good doctors' neighbors, presumably... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in Zimbabwe, it is not legal to hunt in a national park.
It is illegal, I gather, though, to lure the animal out of the park, which is, if they're to believe what they've done. People are appalled, whether it's legal or not. People are appalled. And here in the United States, some of the good doctor's neighbors and presumably some of his patients have tried to shame him by inundating his place of business with a little shrine to the dead lion. What can ordinary people do beyond express their utter disgust at this?
Well, I think one of the most important organizations out there are, like, for example, the African Wildlife Fund, the World Wildlife Defenders of Wildlife. There are many organizations out there on the front lines trying to protect wildlife, both in the United States and around the world. African wildlife is under tremendous pressure. We talked about the environmental and human conflict issues, never mind the issues of poaching. Rhinos and elephants and even large carnivores fall prey to the poacher's snare quite regularly. And it's a $20 billion a year industry. It's the result of trinkets and ornamentation or the traditional medicinal use. But for many reasons, we're destroying our planet's wildlife. And I think one way we can make a dramatic difference is to help support these organizations on the front lines, educating people, building awareness, protecting wildlife and habitat.